Welcome fans to the Tiger Lacrosse Report, where the Tigers and the Syacuse Orange did battle in the quarterfinals. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now. Welcome fans of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. This past Sunday, the Tigers went to Delaware to take on the Syacuse Orange in the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament. Let's take a look at the happy highlights.
The Tigers controlled it, but not able to take advantage of all those possessions.
Mazza turns, shoots, and scores as he comes up the left side. John Mazza with his 15th of the year, and the Tigers take a 1-0 lead, 2 minutes and 37 seconds into the ball game. Feed it over to Drenner, up top, Joe shoots, scores, number 2 of the afternoon, 4-0 Tigers, his 30th of the year. Drenner behind, feeds, middle of the field, shot, score, Matt Wiley, his 3rd, and it's 5-0 Tigers with 2:20 to go here in the first quarter. All right, behind the cage. There's a shot and a score as they fed Simmons. Coming down the right side, and it's 6-2. Short stick on him, he comes up the left. Feed it up top, Lynch puts it home. Mike Lynch with his 2nd of the day, his 21st of the year, and the Tigers up 7-2 with 3:23 to go in the half. Drenner comes up the left side of the crease, feeds it out to Bolowicki over to Sider. He's not shy, he shoots and has his 4th of the ball game. Behind the cage to Conan, work it out to Wiley. Wiley scores his 2nd goal of the game, and it's 9-3 Tigers with 3:39 to go in the 3rd. To Rafus in front, behind the back shot, and a goal by Nate Solomon. 10-5 with 12:51 to go.
The Tigers win the ball game by a final of 10-7. They now will take on the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament, getting back to the Final Four for the first time since 2001. Joining me now, the man who took them there, the head coach of the Tigers, Shawn Nadelen. Coach, obviously your team was ready to go from the opening whistle because at the end of 15 minutes, it was 6-0 Towson. I know that you've had problems this year with the team getting off to quick starts, but I don't think anybody expected that quick of a start.
I agree, especially being how the regular season and some of our postseason games have gone. We expected to start aggressive. We knew we'd be able to generate opportunities. Alex did a good job earning the ball for us off the face-off to get us some possession time in that first quarter. But we came out really firing on all cylinders offensively and finishing the ball off, which was huge for us, obviously, as the game played out. Something that we hadn't done on a consistent basis throughout the regular season. But I think a combination of the guys being excited for the game, playing off the energy in the stadium, and then just being really focused at hitting the ground running.
You know, the other thing was when you played Penn State last week, it was kind of the same situation where you dominated time of possession, but you didn't dominate on the scoreboard. You just weren't getting the shots to go. Eventually they did because you beat Penn State pretty handily in the end. But with the Syacuse game, the shots were going into the back of the net, especially Ryan Drenner with 4 assists in the first quarter and hitting Joe Sider and Mike Lynch and Matt Wiley and everybody just hitting the back of the cage.
Yeah, it's nice to have so many guys contribute early in the game because then you feel like the offense as a whole is getting into a good rhythm and everybody's getting a little piece of the action, which was good. But those guys did a good job of that. Syacuse did a good job kind of adjusting, and the game played out a little bit different over those next 3 quarters. We only scored 4 goals over 3 quarters instead of 6 in 1 quarter. But it was something that our guys did a good job of understanding and managing as the game went on, how we need to continue to stay aggressive.
What does that do? You're a former defensive player. What does that do for a defense when the offense comes out firing and they're hitting?
And they're hitting, makes you understand you're in for a long game. And
No. For you as the guy on the team whose offense is hitting, what does that do for the defense?
For defense, gives you some excitement and lets you. I don't want to say lets you take a deep breath or anything, but knowing that you got to still do your job, and not give up this. This opportunity that the offense has created with scoring some goals and getting you a lead, that puts, that gives you more excitement to want to do your job better, and not just be complacent, be like, oh, we got a 3-goal lead, 5-goal lead, 6-goal lead, whatever it is, we can give up a couple goals here. Continue to stay focused in and be like, hey, they're doing their part, let's step up and do ours.
Before the game, everybody talked about Syracuse's strength was their midfield, Towson's strength, defensive midfield. Well, what we saw was that Salcido had 1 goal and Mariano had only 1 assist. So I would say that the Tigers' strength outplayed the Syracuse strength. But your entire defense and Matt Hoy, everybody came up big.
He did, Matt especially, in that fourth quarter, more so than, he played well throughout the whole game, but he really closed the door in the fourth quarter on a couple really easy opportunities for Syracuse, which continued to keep that divide as far as the score, and that helped us ultimately win the game. But I thought our defensive middies and Tyler Mays did a really good job on their first line midfield, which is I think one of the better ones in the country. And those guys did a great job to support them, defensively as a whole. They played good Towson team defense. Definitely had some gaps in what we were doing, and watching the tape again, things that we need to continue to clean up and address with our off-ball play. But Matt bailed us out when we needed it.
You were up 8-2 at halftime. What did you say to the team?
The fact that Syracuse, much like us throughout the course of the year, was a second half team. They'd be in the game in the first half and then be playing decently, but they really turned it on in the second half, and that's was very similar to how we've been for the majority of the season. So, and the guys were fully in tune with that and understood what was going on. They knew Syracuse's kind of track record, that year, and the 1-goal games and ability to come back, being down 6 or whatever it was in different games and battle back. So, we just tell the guys to continue to keep the pedal down, put pressure on them, but poised with the ball, not try to make too many careless decisions, and offensively, for our defense, be ready for them to really come out and be aggressive as an offense, especially in the transition unsettled game, which they were able to get some goals on us in that.
All right, the game's winding down. It's 10-7. There's about a minute and a half left. Matt makes another great save, and at that point, it's obvious that Syracuse is not going to have enough time to come back to win this ball game. On the sideline, what is it like, and what's going through your mind as you realize that as a coach you have reached for the first time the pinnacle of your sport, and that's getting to the Final Four?
I wasn't even thinking about that until that whistle, that final horn blew, and the team was going on the field. I was more concerned about the bench, keeping those guys under control. Our focus as a staff and what we communicate to the team is you finish the game. You play a complete game from start to finish, whether that be 4 quarters, 5 quarters, 7 overtimes, whatever it is. You got to play a complete game. So that was something we were continuing to try to emphasize, getting those guys. I know they were excited. They could kind of feel, obviously, especially when we called the timeout, 3-goal lead with, whatever it was, 3-4 seconds left.
3.9 seconds left.
Right. They could understand that. I was just trying to continue to keep them engaged, and, they were excited about it. But, you finish the game the way you started, aggressive and smart, and, then you take care, you move on after that.
All right, so the game's over. What's the first thing that's going through your head?
I was just excited for the program, excited for these guys that put together so much hard work throughout the course of not only the year, but the senior class, the junior class, sophomores, those guys that have been a part of, some decent success over the years. But I was really, embracing the fact of what, guys that, have done before these players have been involved in the program, guys that have been through some tough times, but continue to try to do it the right way and instill that work ethic, instill that culture of why it's important to pay attention to details, why it's important to practice a certain way and to compete a certain way, and how that's really pushed our program into position to earn that win on Sunday, and for those guys to have the experiences to get that done on game day in the quarterfinals to allow them to have this Final Four opportunity.
Well, they've got it, and on the next edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report, we're going to talk about That first matchup in the Final Four is the Tigers will take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. So that'll do it for us. For head coach Shawn Nadelen, I'm Spiro Morekas. Tune in later this week when Coach Nadelen and I will talk about the Tigers rematch with the Buckeyes. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And as always, go Tigers.